Good afternoon, everybody. I always look around to see what's being shared online. The memes tell a story. I long said that, and it's interesting to see what gets upvoted to the top or shared on Twitter or lots of retweets or whatever the metric is for your specific social media. The things people talk about are reflective. So I think the memes are a better reflection of the zeitgeist, the things that most people think. And they're a much better reflection than a poll, right? A poll could be a sampling of a group of people, but if you get the responses that you don't like, you could drop certain people in order to game the poll to get it to say what you want it to say. You can get pretty much any data to say what you want it to say if you have control of who they're calling and have a good idea of what the person on the other end is going to say. You get three phone calls with 3 answers, and then you stop getting polling questions. Say my conservative friends and me, I don't get many calls now because I don't give the answers they like. Although sometimes I mess with them. Here is, so back to the memes. A lot of the memes I've been seeing are corrupt Trudeau, his inner circle, himself, and the businesses that feed off him. That's what's being shared. That's what's being talked about. So that's interesting to note. The first part of this story is, what in the world is with this picture? Why would you go with this picture? It's a really strange image to put at the top of this dire warning to Canadians. But look at that! Look at this. Ooh, is that supposed to be seductive, or what's the next step? Or is this your super villain look? Yeah, it's reminding me of something from the late 90s. Oh, right, yes. Haha. Where's Mr. Bigglesworth? So, with Chrystia Freeland doing her best Dr. Evil, let's read this article. CBC reporting, quote, Canada expects foreign meddling in October election, Chrystia Freeland says. Our judgment is that interference is very likely, Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister says. Canada's Global Affairs Minister, Chrystia Freeland, said on Friday it was likely that foreign actors would meddle in the country's October election, and her British counterpart said a deterrent to stop countries like Russia from interfering was critical. U.S. intelligence officials and the government of some European countries would have accused Russia of interfering in their elections in recent years, allegations strongly denied by Moscow. When asked whether she was worried Russia would interfere in the election, Freeland said she was, quote, very concerned. Quote, our judgment is that interference is very likely, and we think there have probably already been efforts by malign foreign actors to disrupt our democracy. That just means evil foreign actors. Freeland said such attempts were not aimed at securing particular outcome in a national election, but to polarize Western societies. Her comments echoed those of her cabinet colleague, Democratic Institution Minister Karina Gould, who earlier this year said it would be naive to assume Canada won't be targeted in the lead up to the election, given its membership in the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, and participation in the Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance. So the link is in the description. You can read for yourself, and Dr. Evil will preside over it. That's not how he laughed. And here's a poll. I thought, wow, they're really pushing it here. This is the Main Street Research poll. I'm not going to say the top word there, but you can read it for yourself. And, well, here it is. Canadians see alt-right as greatest threat to national security. Right, April 5th, 2019. The alt-right is the most dangerous thing in Canada. Huh. Most Canadians, 44.3%, think that domestic alt-right groups are the biggest threat to national security, while the majority of Canadians, 55.2%, do not think that there is a fair amount of extremism among Canada's Muslim community. Huh, isn't that interesting? These are the findings from Main Street Research latest Ultra poll, a conglomeration of 10 provincial polls. The poll surveyed 8,501 Canadians between March 19th and March 25th, 2019. The poll has a margin of error of 1.06 and is accurate 19 times out of 20. I think this is the 20th time, everyone. Quote, we wanted to measure Canadians' attitudes on these issues in light of the recent terrorist attack in New Zealand, said Quito Maggie, president and CEO of Main Street Research. We found that 58.3% of decided respondents think that domestic alt-right groups are the biggest threat to national security. I'm going to pause right here. Can anybody please type in the comments the names of some alt-right groups? I know there's one in Quebec that I can't even think of right now because it's just off the top of my head, but I could Google it in a second and come up with the name. But I know there's one. I know definitely there's one I've heard of that's an alt-right group. And the Daily Stormer, I think, is another one. But I don't know any names of alt-right groups. Never mind alt-right groups mobilizing en masse anywhere near me. So if we could get some news articles and stuff, I would love to read about this, because I haven't read anything about alt-right people. I've read about incels, which I don't think are alt-right people. I think they're people who are, well, I know very little about incels because I thought it was the most ridiculous excuse for an attack ever, and there was very little evidence to support it. So, but regardless, I don't want to get sidetracked. My point is, I think this poll is bunk, and I don't think alt-right groups at all. I don't think there's one coherent group. And if you have 100 splintered groups who are kind of upset and yelling in their Tim Hortons or in their garages, well, that does not a terrorist group make. Yet I can point to and name 5 or 6 Muslim or Islamic groups, and I'm talking extreme Islamic groups here, off the top of my head. Hamas, right? Muslim Brotherhood, that's just 2. And with recent takeovers of countries under their belts, either Canadians are stupid or this poll is absolute propaganda. Here is the full questionnaire, and I thought, did they even ask if alt-right groups are there? Yeah, here it is. Here's the question. Domestic alt-right groups are currently the biggest threat to Canadian national security. Strongly agree, somewhat agree, right? And then the next one is there's a fair amount of extremism among Canadian Muslims, and strongly agree, right? So I have no explanation for this poll other than people can't be that dumb. People can't be that blind. The world is happening. The internet is a thing. Televisions are a thing. We can see what's happening. We're not, hopefully, the majority of us aren't that dumb. And hopefully not even close to 60% of us are that dumb. Otherwise, these guys win, right? Thanks for watching, everybody. Check out peoplespartyofcanada.ca and Canada Poly if you've got some time. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.